Level 6, this is Lesson 4. We're going to be going over reading from page 58. So turn in your books to page 58. All right. Well, as always, I have my assistant, Muram, here to help. Okay, so let's get started on page 58 of your book. Okay, so you remember we're talking about small talk. And Muram, what is small talk?
Small talk is when you ask a person a question. How are you doing?
Yeah, like how are you doing? And usually with small talk, are you asking important questions or not important questions?
Not important questions.
Usually non-important questions. And with small talk, sometimes you want the answer, sometimes you don't want the answer. Okay, so number one here, what are some places where small talk can happen? It's the first question in section 1. What are some places that small talk can happen?
Maybe in the office?
Okay, at your office, at your jobs, that's right. You have to talk to people or else you're weird. But if you talk about too important things, then you're weird also. So maybe at the office, where else?
Like whenever you see your friends.
Okay, when you see your friends, and if they're really close friends, then maybe not small talk, but if you just see them maybe passing in the hall at school, then you just do a little bit of small talk. Okay, cool, good. So at your office, at a park, at a restaurant, these are places. After the quarantine, there'll be references, restaurants open again. Okay, number 2. Maram, can you read question number 2 for me?
Okay. Have you ever met someone interesting through small talk? Where were you?
Okay, so have you ever met someone who was interesting when you were doing small talk?
Tennis, right?
Okay, so Muram plays tennis, and so you're playing tennis, and then you find out someone's interesting. What's a small talk that you might have with other tennis players?
Probably, how long have you been playing tennis?
Yeah, so if you're doing an activity, something about the activity. How long have you been playing? What school are you from? Okay, good. So she's met someone through tennis. All right, we are going to read this passage together. First, I want you to pause the video, and I want you to try to read it yourself. And then when we come back... I hope that you read this article first, and if there was any words you did not know, I hope you underlined them so that you could understand them when we read through them. If you still don't know what they are, look them up in the internet, or send me an email or text message with a word that you don't understand. All right, let's read through this together. First, the title, Strategies for Successful Small Talk.
For successful small talk.
Okay. Opportunities for small talk.
For small talk.
Can happen anywhere.
Can happen anywhere.
On an airplane.
On an airplane.
In the school cafeteria.
In the school cafeteria.
In line for a concert.
In a line for a concert.
Or before an office meeting.
Or before an office meeting.
But how do you start a conversation?
But how do you start a conversation?
How do you end it politely?
How do you end it politely?
And what should you do in between?
What should you do in between?
Below are tips.
Below are tips.
That will help you fit in.
That will help you fit in.
Miram, let's practice that again. That will help you fit in.
That.
Nope, you're saying D. So
that.
Good.
That.
Will help you fit in.
Will help you fit in.
Just about anywhere.
Just about anywhere.
Okay, so Miram, from that first paragraph, what do you think this article will be about?
It's about small talk.
It is about small talk.
That's gonna happen, like in school.
It is talking about. But what is? Look here in these numbers. Don't read yet. Just look. Look, you have numbers 1, 2, 3.
It's gonna happen. How it's gonna happen step by step.
Okay, so it may be going to tell you how it happens. Okay, but it also used the word tips. What's a tip?
Tips mean idea?
Ideas for, and this is going to be ideas for doing small talk well or successfully. Okay, so number 1. Prepare a list of neutral conversation starters.
Prepare a list of neutral conversation starters
That you can call on.
That you can call on.
In any situation.
In any situation.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Is always a good way.
Is always a good way.
To get someone's attention.
To get someone's attention.
Before you engage them with a question.
Before you engage them with a question.
Such as.
Do
you have the time?
Do you have the time?
Where's the bus stop?
Where's the bus stop?
Or.
It's
not supposed to rain, is it?
It's not supposed to rain, is it?
Okay, so how should you start talking to someone in America when you're making small talk? What's a good way to start?
Excuse me?
Excuse me. Excuse me. And because if you don't, then some of you sometimes will be like, teacher, give me pencil. And it's like, no, that's not the right way to do it. You have to start with, what should you start with?
Excuse me?
Excuse me. Excuse me. Do you have a pencil, teacher? I really need one. All right. So, number 2, okay? Learn phrases. For exiting from conversations.
For exiting from conversations.
Gracefully.
Gracefully.
What do you think gracefully means?
Good.
Okay, it means good. It means doing it in the right way. Useful expressions include. It's been great talking to you.
It's been great talking to you.
But I really have to go. It was nice talking to you.
It was nice talking to you.
Or, excuse me, I have to.
Or, excuse me, I have to.
As you're walking away.
You
can add. Take care. See you later. Or take it easy. Okay, so when you end a conversation, what should you say when you're ending small talk?
Take care.
Okay, take care is a good way to end it. What would be a bad way to end a small talk conversation?
You just walk off.
That's right. So to just be like, well, I guess it will rain today. See, that's awkward. It's weird. You don't want to do that. Okay, so these are ways, so you need to know how to start small talk, like excuse me, and end small talk, like I'll see you later. That's one of my favorite ways, because then it's like, oh, we will see each other tomorrow or another time, even though you probably won't. All right, number 3, work on your listening skills. And practice making listening sounds. I see. Yes, of course. Uh-huh. Really? Or wow.
Oh, wow.
Show you are listening. And focused. On what the other person. Is saying. So if I'm talking to Muram, what do I expect her to say while I am talking? Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Wow, Dad. That's amazing. Now, she may not mean those things, but in the American culture, we say these things as part of small talk. It really is using our mouth to show the other person that we're listening to what they're saying. All right, so number 1 was saying, excuse me. Number 2 was saying, take care, see you later. Number 3 was saying things like, uh-huh, really? Wow, as someone is talking. You don't just want to stand there like this. That wouldn't be good. Okay, number 4. Use positive body language. Use a mirror to practice smiling. Making eye contact. And nodding. Americans will interpret these behaviors. Let's do that again. That was hard to say. Americans will interpret these behaviors as signals that you are paying attention. are paying attention.
Are paying attention.
So when an American is talking to you, what should your body be doing?
Positive. And smiling.
Should be smiling and eye contact. And I know this is weird for some of your countries. In some of your countries, it's inappropriate for like a man and a woman to look in each other's eyes as they're talking. But in America, if you're not looking in someone's eyes, then we think that you're not listening. So, so right now, Muram is coloring in her book as I'm talking. And so I can't see her eyes, and so because of that, it makes me feel like she isn't listening, even though you're listening, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right here. Okay, good. So that's using your body language to help communicate. Okay, my wife oftentimes tells me, Cameron, you need to look at me when I'm talking to you because I'll want to be reading as she is talking. I'm still practicing. All right, number 5. Learn how to interpret politely.
Learn how to interpret politely.
Politely. Say, excuse me.
Say, excuse me.
Pardon me.
Pardon me.
Or sorry.
Oh, sorry.
And then follow up with a question.
And then follow up with the question.
About what the speaker has just said.
About what the speaker has just said.
In American culture.
It's
not always rude.
It's not always rude.
To cut in when another person is speaking.
To cut in when another person is speaking.
On the contrary. Interrupting sometimes shows that you are. That actively involved. In the conversation. So if I'm talking and Muram doesn't understand a word I'm saying, what should she do? If I say, you really need to raise your cordialness as we're talking. Now, do you know what cordialness means?
No.
So if I'm saying, excuse me, you really need to raise your cordialness as you're talking, what's a polite thing for you to do?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what is cordial.
Cordial. Well, you know what? I think I need a helper to help me show this. So if you'll pause for just a second, or hold on, let me just get a helper right now. All right. So I have a volunteer here who's going to help show what to do. Okay, so if I said, you need to raise your cordialness.
Excuse me, what is cordialness?
Oh, yeah, cordialness means like how graceful or how polite you're being.
Oh, okay.
So you need to raise, and then the American will usually change their word. You need to change how polite you're being.
Okay.
Okay, great job. Okay, so it's okay to stop an American while they're talking, especially if they're talking for a long time. Sometimes I talk for a long time. I know that. And if you're not understanding what I'm saying, I need you to stop me and say, excuse me, what did you mean about this word? If you wait until I'm finished talking, you may have a lot more questions before I get to the end of my sentence or paragraph. All right, so let's review. Number 1, say, excuse me, when you want to start talking. With number 2, when you're leaving, you can say,
see you later.
See you later. Okay, and number 3, as you're listening, you should be saying things like,
wow.
Yeah. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay, number 4, as you're talking, you should use positive body language. An example of positive body language is
eye contact,
nodding, smiling at the right times. All right, and number 5, if you don't understand what someone's saying, you should say,
excuse me, pardon me.
You should say, like, excuse me, what does that word mean? Or, excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Can you say it again? All right, number 6. Write down funny stories you hear or interesting experiences you've had. Then practice saying them aloud.
Then practice saying them out aloud.
Telling a funny story
Telling a funny story
is an excellent way
is an excellent way
to break the ice.
to break the ice.
And what does break the ice mean?
You cut the ice.
It does mean you cut the ice, but what does that mean? It's a
Cut the conversation.
that it means to break the awkwardness. Like when you first meet someone, it's like it's ice. And so if you can tell a funny story or something interesting that is not too serious, it breaks the awkwardness. So then you can talk more easily. All right, number 7. Most of all, don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
In the United States,
it
is normal
is normal
to start up
to start up
a casual conversation
a casual conversation
with someone you've never met before.
with someone you never met before.
So the next time
So the next time
you're standing in line
you're standing in line
at the supermarket,
at the supermarket,
don't be afraid
don't be afraid
to say to the person in front of you,
to say to the person in front of you,
"Nice day,
nice day,
isn't it?"
isn't it?
All right, this is what this article was about. It was about tips for making small talk, so that way you will have a successful time doing it. And I have to be honest, Muram is much better at small talk and making friends than I am. So I have some things to learn from her about doing this with other people. All right, now I'd like you to take a minute, pause the video, and answer these 3 questions to yourself on the top of page 59. I'll see you after the pause. All right, class, now we're on page 59. Okay, and we're answering the top 3 questions about the reading. All right, let's go. All right, Muram, can you read question 1 for me?
How can you prepare yourself to make a small talk?
Okay, how can you prepare yourself to make small talk? How can you prepare yourself?
Maybe smile first.
Okay, you can
Look
smile.
at-
What if you know you will have small talk tomorrow? How could you prepare yourself today?
I don't think there's anything you should prepare for yourself.
Okay, so it is kind of weird to prepare yourself for small talk. You might think about some ideas of things you could talk to people about that are not very serious. If you're like going to tennis, think about like, oh, what are some tennis things? But there's not much you can do to prepare. Okay, number 2. Imagine you're a passenger on an airplane, and the person sitting next to you just took a break from reading a book. What could you say to make small talk?
Ask the question about what she or he's reading.
Okay, yeah, you could ask a question about, what are you reading? Like, do you like the book? Has it been good? And then you want to watch them to see, do they want to talk, or are they wanting to like take a break and take a nap? So you kind of have to be watching the person to see if they want to be having small talk. Good, and question number 3, of the 7 tips, which have you tried already, and which do you plan to try next? Well, for me, I have done almost all of these, except I've never written down funny stories. Number 6, I've never written down funny stories to practice saying them before. Maybe I'll start doing that. Maybe I won't. It's kind of awkward. All right. Now, I want just to do the vocabulary building here in this yellow box. Okay, and we're going to be using phrasal verbs, which is when a verb and a preposition go together. And it's a preposition, or sometimes an adverb, which creates a meaning different from the meaning of the original verb. So you form phrasal verbs by drawing lines from the verb to the preposition. Then write the meanings in. So sometimes when people are new to America, look at number 1. It says fit in. And what does it mean to fit in somewhere? Well, yeah, like you fit in a group, and here it says be accepted by the people you're with.
Mm-hmm.
So we practice small talk so that you'll fit in. But sometimes when you're new, you forget the second part, so you're like, I want to fit. I want to fit on the group. And it's like, no, you don't fit on the group. You fit in the group. So take a moment and see if you can connect one of these verbs to one of these prepositions here and then write the meaning. We'll go over that after you pause. All right, we're on page 59, and we're going to work on your vocabulary from this box. Okay, so number one was fit in, and fit in means to belong to a group. Okay, number two, call. What preposition goes with call, Muram?
On.
Call on. Okay, and what does that mean to call on?
Oh, like, you call on someone to answer the question.
Okay, so you call on someone to answer the question, and that means to choose someone, usually when they don't know that it's about to happen to them. To call on someone means to say, okay, I'm going to pick you, and you're not choosing it. Okay? What about number three, focus?
Focus on.
Focus on. Okay, good. What is focus on?
Something you need to pay attention.
Yeah, so you need to focus on me. That means pay attention to me. Or you need to focus on your homework. Means pay attention to your homework. Some of you at home need to focus on your children's schoolwork because it's all online right now. Okay, so focus on. Okay, number four, follow
Up.
Follow up. What does that mean, follow up?
I don't know how to do it, but I put it like catch up on.
Okay, catch up with someone. Follow up means to connect with someone at another time. So if I say someone I work with, hey, will you look into that bill and follow up with me? That means talk to me later about it. Many times we promise, hey, I'll follow up with you. And it's kind of small talk because sometimes we will follow up and sometimes we don't really mean it. Okay, follow up. Number five, write
Down.
Write down. And what does write down mean?
Like you put something important stuff.
Okay. It means to record something.
Mm-hmm.
So you can write down on a computer, like take notes on a computer, write down on your computer, write down in your notes. That means to record information. Okay, and the last one, Start
up, sorry.
Start up. Good. And startup means to, like, you start up a conversation. That means you begin a conversation. Or if you start a new company, the new company is called a startup. And that's when a company is new. It's just begun. So startup means you also do that with your car. You start up your car. All right, so repeat these with me. Fit in.
Fit in.
Call on.
Call on.
Focus on.
Focus on.
Follow up.
Follow up.
Write down.
Write down.
Start up.
Start up.
I want to give you a little bit more practice to do for these. So let's go to your workbook. Your workbook, page 30 in your workbook. Okay, and in page 30, I would like you to do section 1 on page 30 of your green workbook. Is this green or blue?
Green.
Green. I like to think it's green. Okay, I'd like you to write in the right prepositions on numbers 1 through 6. And then 7 through 12, you have to write the right preposition and put their definition next to it. All right, so pause the video and do your workbook on page 30. All right, we're on page 30 now of your green workbook. Okay, page 30, number 1. Miram, will you read number 1 for us?
Okay. Lisa wants to fit.
Not want.
Want.
Do you see that S at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, how do we make the S? Wants.
Wants.
It sounds like a drum.
Wants.
Uh-huh.
Lisa wants to fit in where she is in a different country so she can try to learn about the local culture and costumes.
Okay, did you hear that Miran made a few mistakes there? Miran, will you read that one more time, but slower?
Lisa wants
Mm-hmm.
to fit in where she's...
Not where.
Oh, when she's in a different country.
Mm-hmm.
So she tries to learn about the local culture and customs.
Good. So Lisa is in a new country, and she wants to fit in. Now, when you're in a new country, you'll never fit in all the way, but you can try to fit in more. Okay, number 2, Miran.
After Jenna's, right?
Mm-hmm. After
Jenna's interview, she followed up with a thank you note.
Good. So after Jana's interview, she followed up with a thank you note. So she didn't just stop the interview and say nothing. A day or 2 later, she wrote one thank you note. She followed up. Good job. So number 2, followed up. All right, number 3.
Sarah was working so much that it cut in. I put it in.
That's right. It cut in. Keep going.
It cut into her study time.
Okay, good. So number 3, Sarah was working so much that it cut into her study time. What do you think cut in means?
Like, she lost her time.
Okay, so like cutting in means like cutting out a piece. If you're like, oh, I get this whole pizza, and then someone cuts out a piece that you don't get. When someone cuts into her study time, she thinks, oh, I have all this study time, and someone had cut into her study time. So number 3 is cut in. Good. Number 4.
Jim, right? His name, right?
That's right.
Jim is interested in starting up his own business.
That's right. So he's interested in starting up his own business. We use the word startup and business. They go together a lot. Okay, number 5.
How does it Nabel?
Nabal. I've never seen that name before, but Nabal
wants to focus on his studies this semester so that he can graduate in June.
Good. So what's he going to be thinking about?
Focus, like he's going to graduate on.
Okay, what is he going to think about, though? He's not going to think about
Studies.
He's going to think about his studies. He's going to say, okay, I'm not going to play video games now. I'm going to think about my studies. Okay, and number 6.
My new job requires that I can call on all my knowledge and skills.
Good. So here, call on means to remember something. To call on means, okay, I need to call on my memory, which is a little weird. All right. Number 7, fit in, okay, means to belong. And hold on, I'm going to change this whiteboard, but you don't have to watch me. All right. Now we're on number 7 on page 30. Okay, so fit in means to be, belong. All right, number 8, follow. What preposition goes with follow?
Up.
Follow up. And what does that mean?
I put D.
Okay, D, good. To do something right after as a next step. Okay, and then number 9.
Cut in.
Cut in. Okay, and what does cut in mean?
A. I put A.
Okay, A would not be correct here. The correct one would be letter E. E means to take away from something. So when something cuts in, like Muram wanted to be taking a nap right now, but I cut into her nap to make her learn English. E. I took away from her nap time, and now she can't do nap because she can't nap as long because I cut into the time. All right, number 10, start up. And what does start up mean?
F.
F.
Starting
Good.
from the beginning.
To start something from the beginning. Okay, and number 11, focus
On.
on. And what does focus on mean?
C.
C, to concentrate. Concentrate means to focus or to think mainly about one thing. Okay, and then number 12, call.
On.
Call on. And call on,
Oh, A.
A, to recall or draw on from something. So we're having to call on all the nurses and doctors right now to come back to work to help us with the virus. I hope that you have worked hard to finish your workbook and our lesson 4. Great job, and I will see you soon with an assignment.